Well, right now I'm in front of you all to speak a few words on my support to the Prime Minister's constant emphasis on a corruption-free India. And in this connection, I would like to add that corruption-free India is a need not only for India, but for the entire world. And for that matter, I would extend my uh, opinion that the world has to be corruption-free, where all people have a strong sense of participation and no community, no individuals, no groups feel alienated or cheated or deceived or exploited. If our world leaders are the world leaders in the real sense of the term, then all of them should have no problem joining hands to rid this world of ours of corruption. Corruption is a vague word to many people, but to me, it is not that vague because I think corruption consists in all kinds of misconduct or all kinds of wrongdoing or all kinds of offenses, particularly the serious ones. Suppose when a schoolboy steals a pencil from the school bag of another friend or a class friend, then it's a wrongdoing. But then that's it. That's in a different category. If you speak a lie on the 1st of April to your mother, it's a wrongdoing because of your speaking lie, your mother may be anxious because she is told about the arrival of her brother and she has to plan for things for the convenience of her brother. And she may not be health-wise all right, and that might be a problem or doing something. Suppose you just borrow some money from a friend, you promise to return that money within 10 days, but you fail. But you don't have the intention to, what we call, to devour the money or not to return the money. You take some time. And that is also a kind of wrongdoing. That is also a kind of mistake. But then these things are usual things, keep on happening, although this should not happen too frequently on the part of a person. That if you are in the habit of borrowing money and not returning in time, then you become a liar. And gradually you lose your reputation as a good human being. My point is that corruption that involves, you can say what you call, uh, committing murders for the sake of economic gain, or cheating industrialists for the sake of, you can say what you call, blackmailing them, or you can say borrowing money from the banks in millions, even billions, and you don't pay because you are nexus. You have the connection with the people in the higher ups. People in the higher ups have to be more responsible. But in many parts of the world, almost every country is a victim of such people who happen to, you can say, defraud banks or who happen to defraud the electorate, that you make promises and then in the elections, during the elections, and you don't act towards the fulfillment of your promises made to your electorate, and that's a crime. But right now, my purpose is to refer to those economic crimes or related crimes that bring about lots of problems to the common people. If some bad people have all the money in the country, then the good people don't have any money to buy even a small house. Because for a small house, the people who have lots of bad money, they are willing to pay a lot. They would buy all the houses, small houses available for business for 10 years, 15 years. They keep because they don't lose anything. They have so many other things to sell and buy, and they make, you can say, the dreams of what you call common people, people who save, you can say, little, bit by bit over 20 years, 25 years, these people fail to buy even a one bedroom flat. You don't send your children to schools where fees are always hiked, because bad people, they are increasing in number, and they have so much of money to take all the seats in the school. And your son is meritorious, but he is not given a seat in the school because the school is run by private institutions, and they only believe in making profit. They invest 1 crore and they would like to recover 3 crore in 1 year. And this tendency is rampant in India or any other country in the world. Maybe there are few countries, small countries, where people are highly educated and people are, you can say, very bold enough not to be bribed, not to allow themselves to be bribed, not to have partisan views. They are, you can say, indifferent to influences, negative influences, and they can resist negative influences. They can stand on their own. They can fight for justice. But in a country like India, where you have heterogeneous population, you have people of different religions and castes and colors and languages and different languages. Over 200 dialects are spoken in India. You have about 30, 35 languages, maybe 25 of them are recognized in the Constitution of India. And in the states, and the language that is spoken in the state is the official language. So many kinds of conflicting steps are seen to be taken by people. The interests of one community seem to be what we call seem to be crushed by the interests of other community, because the constitution doesn't act impartially. Merit has to be given. Merit means merit of a farmer. When I say merit, I don't mean merit that you stand first in the class or you top the university merit list, or you are very brilliant at maths or English or history or sociology. Merit means honesty is your merit. If you are a worker, a good worker, and you make a profit, you take, you can say, wages according to your labor, but you don't overcharge the people who come to you to be served, because these people themselves are small people and low income people. So today's stream of mine is in reference to the reports that I read in today's the Times of India Calcutta edition. And in these reports, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is is reported to have spoken, and I have read line by line the reports. And as I have read, I can tell you that he means to say that corruption is extremely cancerous in our society. Corruption has been, he has given a deadline also, that even ever since the country became independent in 1947, India has been in the vortex of corruption, and the leaders at different stages of Indian post-independence history have not been able to stem the tide of corruption. Corruption, on the other hand, is being taken as something normal, regular, and people don't have the guts to prosecute the corrupt, or to give them a message that corruption is not all right for anyone. Even for the corrupt people, it is not all right, because corruption makes you gradually depraved. Depraved. Individually, you are a depraved person, you become a depraved person, you don't have any morality. And morality doesn't mean that you have to preach others. Morality means that you practice those elements of your conduct which you would like other people to practice. Morality means that you don't cheat others. If you don't cheat others, then you have some kind of investment in the mind that I have never cheated others, so I shouldn't be cheated. Because why should I be cheated when I have not cheated? Why should I be wronged when I have not wronged other people? Why should I be afraid of people when I don't have amassed illegal money? Very few people, you can say, are gutsy enough, courageous enough to speak in favor of truth. There's a saying that to every individual, to every man and nation comes a moment to decide in a strife of truth and falsehood, good or evil side. Means all of us, because life is a journey, and in this journey we meet different situations. We come across different kinds of people, good people as well as bad people, the guiding people as well as misguiding people. But then it is a common knowledge everywhere in the world that the number of good people is always small, and the number of bad people is always overwhelming, particularly in overpopulated countries of the world where education is only in terms of distributing certificates. There is no quality education, and quality education lies in in raising awareness of the learners that life has to be lived with the motto live and let live. Live for others, others will then live for you. Cooperate honestly with others, others then would cooperate with you honestly, and everybody will stand to benefit. Now, see, you want to suppose travel by a train, and you have a very important thing to do somewhere else, maybe 500 kilometers away from your place, and you don't get the train ticket. But you go to the station, you go to any racketeer, and they will give you a fake ticket or a ticket for your journey at a very exorbitant premium. Means you have to pay a bribe and you get. How do you get? How are tickets available to these people, racketeers, who sell to the common people in distress at a very high price? This is a kind of corruption. So in the railways, in the, suppose you can say what you call air services, in the registration office, at the police stations, in the hospitals, you name any public, you can say institution or public place where you don't have corruption. During the COVID, papers used to be filled with reports of, you can say, blackmail of essential medicine or essential, you can say, gadgets and machines, which were needed so badly for the patients, COVID patients. And those who could not pay, they were left to themselves. They died or they got miraculously saved. Hence, all people in the world, I don't talk only of the people of India, people of the world. Take the example of Japan, sometimes you have charges of corruption. Take the example of Israel, you have the prime minister getting charged with corruption. Take the example of the most powerful country in the world, America. Former President Trump is charged in many ways. He has against him charges of models who allege that they have been exploited sexually by the former president. Then you have industries, income tax department of the government of the U.S. Charging him not to have paid fully the taxes that were due against him. So everywhere you see that you have, okay, charges may be false, charges may be, you can say what you call misleading, but then there are charges which are not misleading. And you see that some people in India, in politics generally, in politics, in police, in other departments, but mainly in politics, because politics is the center of power, and power is, you can say, devolved to other lower centers, and at the helm, it is the political power. So politicians who were very poor, they didn't have even 1 acre of land. They didn't have any, you can say, anything as an asset, movable or unmovable. And most of these politicians now are billionaires. They have in big cities flats after flats, houses after houses. They have plots, they have farmlands, they have ornaments for their wives and sisters and mothers and relatives. You can say running into millions. Where did all this money come from? This is a matter of surprise, but there is no surprise because everybody knows that once you become a politician, once you become a minister, and then you are free to loot the people, rob the country. The bus stands in the country, in a state, bus stands are so dirty, railway stations are so dirty, hospitals are so dirty that even a healthy person, if he happens to stay 2 3 hours because of the admittance of a relative of his in the hospital, he becomes sick because it's stinking, the stinking atmosphere. But the doctors and the agents and the brokers, they have a multi-story building, air conditioned, suppose you can say halls, 5 6 cars. Some people have even 25 cars. The family has only 5 members, but the number of cars 25. Look at this situation. What would you say about all this? This all happens because of corruption. Means business people, they invest, suppose they make schools and schools for education. They have slogans, all kinds of slogans that the school will give education. What education that school will give? Whose proprietor, whose director, whose owner is a corrupt person. He invests 5 crore for a school premises, for infrastructure, and within 5 6 years he becomes a billionaire, and he exploits the middle class, lower middle class, even upper middle class. You can say what you call parents. If you are a student of, or your child is a student of class 1, you have to pay 10,000, 50,000 in many places, because higher the charges, the schools are supposed to be, you can say, of higher standard. This is a fallacious, you can say, impression spread deliberately through advertisement, through models, the so-called Bollywood people means film people. Most of them are corrupt. They are the stooges of the dons, means smugglers and all that. They say in the newspapers and all that. So corruption is cancer. Cancer kills a man. If the cancer is advanced, the patient is sure to get killed unless you have miraculous escape by the blessings of God, or you go to buy the services of the best hospitals in the world that are generally in America and Europe. The common people, the 60 70% people, the 80% people, these people are common people, and they can't buy the fruits because very expensive. They can't suppose travel, very expensive. They can't get their children educated, very expensive. They can't have nutritional meals, very expensive. In this context, it is but natural for any educated person, conscious person, or a person who believes in peace and prosperity for everybody. You can't have peace. Peace is not something that can be bought equally for everybody. Peace is a matter of mind. A person having everything may not have peace of mind. So it depends on so many factors. And as many individuals, billions of individuals and billions of situations and cases where you can have peace or you can't have. You can have little peace or you can't have peace at all. It depends. But then in public life, things have to be clear that those people who cheat, suppose you see that these days you have online business, and the more use of these gadgets, the more you can say ways of corruption are drawn out. And that you are a pensioner, you have some money in the account, and somebody phones you, and you don't know much because you don't know that much about the intricacies of the use of technology or gadget, and you get cheated every day, almost every day, that you have cybercrime police and all that, and these people happen to catch the culprits. Sometimes they don't catch. You see, in the state of West Bengal, I am now in Kolkata, and I read newspapers. The Times of India I have been subscribing for the last 3 decades since my student days, and I have been subscribing to the Statesman, but the Times of India, and I have been a fan of R.K. Lakshman, whose cartoons used to appear daily. Times of India earlier, suppose I used to study. Earlier it was only from Delhi, now you have Delhi, Calcutta, Lucknow, so many places. So everywhere you see that you have a cut system. If you get your ration card made, you have to pay some money. If you have to make your passport made, you have to pay some money. If you have to get your registration done of a piece of land or whatever, you have to pay. Everywhere you have to pay. What is this? This is an example of rampant corruption. Now I come to this main part of my stream, that I want to praise Prime Minister of India. Maybe I maybe you can say banded as you can say as a flatterer or as whatever term they may like to choose for me, but I am not alone. They say in the newspapers that 80% of the people of the world have voted for him to be the most honest person, politician in the world. Maybe the reports also may be wrong, but if not 85%, maybe 70%, 60% people. And um, from what I have been able to guess about Prime Minister Modi, that he is very simple. He doesn't have, nobody has ever, you can say, brought out a charge against him. Though he has hundreds and hundreds of political enemies and even people outside the country who don't want him to do good work for India or good work for the Indian people. And if he does good work for India and good work for Indian people, then they don't know that you can say the significance is larger. The good work for this great country, large country, will be what you call benefiting other countries also. Good people of one place always happen to suppose you can say influence other people. If they go out because they are good, they would be talking good, they would be behaving good, they would be giving good ideas. So any place that such good people visit, that places people also get advantaged or benefited. Prime Minister Modi has been known, and I have followed him for a number of years. Even before he was the Prime Minister, he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He was always seen, spotted in simple dress, speaking plainly, not speaking nonsense, not speaking too much, speaking to the point. And then you get to know that there may be a difference between speaking and the reality. But in all these years, 20, 25 years, nobody has ever been able to bring out a corruption charge against him, and that corruption charge having improved. He doesn't have a bank balance. His mother, who died at the age of 101 or maybe 100 or maybe a few months short of 100, she lived in a very humble house with one of her sons. She dressed herself in very, you can say, simple, plain clothes. His brothers, his family members, nobody has asset, running into crores and crores. But see, all and sundry politicians means overnight they become over-rich. How do they become so rich so soon? It is obvious that they misuse their offices, they misuse their, you can say, positions, they sell their influences, they help bad people. See, in West Bengal, I'm here in Kolkata, that for the last 6 or 7 months, maybe 20, 25 people have been arrested for recruitment, shady recruitment. Don't say shady even, clearly, you can say irregular appointments to the post positions of teachers, primary school, upper primary, middle, higher, whatever. And they have stashed billions of rupees in their bank accounts or in the names of the people who are not relative, but they are under their influences. Every other day, they are being questioned, and then suppose reports come out that 20 crore given to this person, 100 crore given to another person, 500 crore given to another person, and you can say the root of the problem is yet to be recognized, or the main hands of the corruption are seldom recognized. The cases are investigated, some people are punished, some people are jailed, but the corruption doesn't stop, it goes on. So Prime Minister's this consistent emphasis on corruption-free India is praiseworthy, you can say, what you call consistency and praiseworthy emphasis, because corruption is very bad. It helps only the corrupt people, but even corrupt people don't help themselves through corruption. They damage their posterity, their sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters. They are aware somehow that the wealth that they have inherited is the is the wealth that got to them through corruption. Their forefathers, their parents, their grandparents, they indulged in corruption. They were imprisoned, or even if they were not imprisoned, their conscience tell them that they could not have become so filthy rich if their parents and grandparents had not indulged in corruption. Uh, my idea is that Prime Minister Modi deserves to be complimented. He deserves to be praised. He deserves to be told by millions of people in India that they are with him. And as he has said, that perhaps he was speaking in a conference of the officers of the anti-corruption teams, particularly CBI and ED and all that, on the occasion of one of the institutions' anniversary, 62nd or something like that, CBI 62nd anniversary. So he said that please do your job honestly. Don't get into controversy by having, suppose you can say, innocent people implicated, but don't, you can say, go lenient on the really corrupt people. Whoever is corrupt, however powerful these corrupt people are, you don't have to get afraid of their influence, but you have to take actions according to the laws. And this kind of encouragement given to the officers by the Prime Minister of a country like India uh, is extremely significant. The officers, and sometimes this is also a fact of life, that in India, sometimes the director of an intelligence agency arrested, the CBI officers sometimes arrested, sometimes the top officers of government organizations they are arrested. Even these people should know that you get so much of salary, you get so much, so many perks that you can have comfortable life. Your family members can have comfortable life. You need not indulge in corruption. Think of the people who doesn't earn even 1/40th of what you earn. You earn 4 lakh, 5 lakh per month, 2 lakh, and there are people, 5 members, 6 members, and the head of the family earns 10,000, 12,000, and somehow they live. And if they are honest, and sometimes one of their sons and daughters get to the top positions in bureaucracy. A son may become, suppose, a professor. It depends on how much work you do, how much labor, and it also depends, as in the case of school recruitment, that you can't write ABCD and you become English teacher. You cannot solve simple arithmetic, you can say, equations or additions, subtractions, divisions, and you become mathematics teacher. What sort of education children are sought to be given? What sort of education policy you have? You speak in the public meetings so highly, and the ministers, the junior ministers, the bureaucrats, everywhere you see give and take. If you are not in this game of give and take, then you are out forever. You only have to live in frustration. You commit suicide, or you just live your life dryly and leave this world extremely frustrated. Corruption, therefore, is cancer. It is worse than cancer. It has to be stopped. It has to be eliminated. If not eliminated, because we human beings are mortal and we become good, and after some time, after 10 years, certain situations arrive, certain company you assume, and then that company vitiates you and you become corrupt. So corruption will recur, but corruption at every stage has to be crushed, so that there is always a possibility of a way out. People always have faith in the system that, well, corruption has been discouraged. Corrupt people are punished. They are brought to book. They are brought to justice. And so there is a kind of this awareness, a kind of fear that, well, I should live within my means. I should not go for 20 lakh rupees wristwatch. I shouldn't go for ornaments for my wives and children and all that. I should live a decent life, have books, have instruments to play music, have, you can say, things to play, games and all that, enjoy life. But this enjoyment has to be for most of the people, all the people in the world. So be it America, be it China, be it India, be it New Zealand, be it Norway, be it Pakistan, I mean, everywhere, good people, love them, appreciate them, so that other people who are not so good They would like to be loved. They would like to be respected. They would like to be, you can say, given some sort of prestige. Corruption-free India is the need not only of India, it is a need for the entire world. Corruption-free America, the US, Brazil, China. In China also they say that you have some corrupt people. But they also say, and they say right or wrong, I don't know, but you hear that corrupt people are punished. But some people say, well, the corrupt people who are in the sphere of power or who are close to President Xi, they are not punished. So these are the stories. We don't go. I don't go to China. I don't go to America. I don't go everywhere to know. I just form an opinion from what I read, what I hear, and then I can make use of my common sense that this can happen. So India is a huge country, and China is a huger country. America is a very developed country. So everywhere in the world, people, if you are a leader, you ask yourself, are you really a leader? A leader has to suffer, but a leader has to do everything for the convenience, for the welfare of the common people. So all the countries in the world, all the leaders in the world, all the economists, all the honest police officers, all the great doctors, the great doctors have to see that some of the professionals in their field, they don't sell kidneys, they don't overcharge, they don't exploit the poor patients, they don't exploit even the rich patients. Rich means you have, that doesn't mean that all money that a rich person has should go to, you can say, what you call, meeting expenses of an operation. uh, Doctors have to be honest, lawyers have to be honest, and engineers have to be honest to make, you can say, bridges. You are a corrupt engineer, you corrupt architect, and you make, you can say, what you call substandard entity, and that entity busts off. That entity, you can say, gets destroyed within 6 months, and people die. Many people die because of this collapse. Many people die because of so many substandard things made that are for public use. And therefore, corruption is the enemy, not of a country, not of some people, but corruption is the enemy of the entire humanity. Even corrupt people themselves are the members of the humanity. They should think that through corruption they can have money, they can amass money, but their successors, their, you can say, progeny, their family members who are to come, they will have to pay for your corruption. Your corruption, you may die without getting punished, but your son will be punished, your grandson will be punished. This is a simple fact. Newton, the greatest, one of the greatest scientists, said that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So wrong doing is always, you can see, what you call, is answered with justice, punishment. You are caught today or you are caught tomorrow. You are to be caught. Sometimes they are not caught, but these not getting caught themselves or their sons and daughters may be exceptions. But generally it happens that you indulge in corruption, one day you become the victim of other people's corruption. You cheat others today, and someday some others cheat you, because cheats are greater than you. Corrupt people are greater than you. Greater in the quoted sense that you are corrupt, somebody is more corrupt. So in that great. You cheat cunningly, somebody is more cunning, and he cheats you more cunningly. So let us not get into this spree forever. Let us come out of the spree of corruption, this rot of corruption. And Prime Minister Modi, I have never met you. I have, although I have written a couple of emails I sent, but I was told that emails were not received because the mailbox boxes are full, or the addresses are wrong. I don't know. I only wanted to express my what you call views, and generally supporting your moves, your actions, your suppose you can say praising you for your frankness, for your simplicity, for your commitment to the development of the nation, and through the development of this nation, your commitment also gets realized in towards other nations. Because if you are good at home, you cannot harm other people's homes. You cannot go out to other people's homes and harm because you are good. Good people are good at home. Good people are good outside home. Good people are the members of the entire human society, and we should encourage them, we should praise them, we should appreciate them, so that the number of good people increase and the number of bad people gradually, even though gradually, that number decreases. So may you have the blessings of our makers, lords, God Shiva. Uh, if gods are there, goddesses are there, I don't know anything about them, but I have a faith that there is some power, that power is behind. And as Tolstoy said, God sees truth but waits. Sometimes I ask myself, if there is God that great, why so much of corruption? Why so much of killing? So many killings? Why so much of, you can say, violence in society? Why not quick punishment to the criminals? Why so much of delay, even though justice is done ultimately? But then there is a saying, justice delayed is justice denied. But then again, you have Tolstoy, he in one of his stories, he justifies his statement that God sees truth but waits, that how an innocent person becomes a saint because of his imprisonment on the charge of murdering a person, which crime he had not committed. And the real murderer, he was scot-free. He was moving freely and committing other crimes. But finally, he is caught by the arms of law and he is punished. And this person who was a small-time trader at Sinov, and he becomes immortal as a character. He becomes a saint because of his reading hagiologies and autobiographies of great people. So I would like, if gods and goddesses are anywhere in heaven, this should also see to it that criminals don't go scot-free. And they shouldn't be given long lease. They shouldn't be allowed to enjoy a material life, because this is material world. And if you enjoy materially, and that is a and if you are bad, even then you enjoy, then that makes other people frustrated because they want to be good, but they suffer, they live a miserable life. So please, gods in the heaven, please help the good people, help them quickly so that they become better and better and better. This is what is my appeal to all the people. And I, as a citizen, I also may have many weaknesses. I'm aware, or I'm not aware, but intentionally, I don't do anything that is bad, that is harmful to others, or that is injurious to others, or that is injurious to society and the country and the world at large. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, I praise you, and I have many more to say about your goodness, but I'm not being able to say. Words are not coming so readily, and then limitation of this, what you call, stream time also. So thanks a lot for being such a good Prime Minister of India. Thanks a lot for thinking and living so simply, and thanks a lot for making India better. And through that act of making India better, you are indirectly making the whole world better. Thanks a lot. God bless us all. Bye bye.